This is a video for making antibiotic controls. We're going to make positive controls and negative controls, or not found controls. The not found controls come from our milk, and they're already tested and confirmed not found for antibiotic. Materials for this process that we're going to need are as follows. We're going to need a pipetter. We are going to need our pipetter tips. We're going to need tube rack for positive controls, and you can see that the positive is purple. It has the current batch number with the current expiration date. We're going to need a tube rack, this one for the negative controls, or not found. We need a tube rack for filling the vials, so when we set it up, it can sometimes be a little messy. We might triple. We need sample vials for the positive controls, and we need sample vials for the negative controls. We need a Pen 5 positive sample, and that comes in this box right here. We're going to use one of these units. We need a milk sample that's been tested and confirmed to be not found. That's this right here. And we need a syringe that's 20 ml or larger, and we need 15 milliliters of water. I've got everything set up now. These are all of the materials laid out, ready for filling. So in the tube rack here, this is the spare tube rack. I've got all of our negative or not found sample vials. So we're going to fill out of an already proven not found sample from our own milk. That's the January 8th. I've got new labels on our positive and not found tube racks, and these are what we're going to put our sample vials in and freeze. You can see that on the not found batch, that's the NF, we have 1921N. That is today's date. It's January 9th, 2021, and N is for not found. You can see that because we're making it on the same day, that's how we create our batch number. So the real distinction between the positive and the not found is that it's got the batch number plus P and the batch number plus N, and that's how we make the distinction. And on our expiration date, it is 2 months from today, so 3/9/21 is when we would have to be making new controls for the next round. I start by rehydrating the freeze-dried milk sample that has the antibiotic in it. We already have measured out 15 milliliters into our syringe, and we're just going to put that all into our control. I like to do this first because I want to give it a good chance to dissolve. When we go to pipette this into our vials, we don't really want to have a lot of foam, so I start by doing this control. So you lightly shake it, kind of get it started. I use the warm water because it helps dissolve it. You really shouldn't have hot water, but a little bit of warm water is fine, just to kind of get it going. And I just kind of give it a little bit of agitation, and then I set it aside. Before I fill this, we'll go ahead and give it another little bit of agitation, make sure that it's completely dissolved. You do want to have this totally dissolved. If you wind up with chunks, it makes it very difficult to pipette out later if there's little pieces that are uneven inside of the test sample vials. In order to start pipetting over into our sample vials, we need to put a pipetter tip onto our pipetter. Inside of our container here is the pipetter tips and this little set of tweezers. We are going to try to handle, we're trying to handle these as little as possible, because this is where a point of contamination could happen. If we've handled something with antibiotics, we could potentially contaminate the rest of the stock. So we're going to take this tip and we're going to put it onto our pipetter. So we've got the tip on the pipetter. It doesn't take a lot of force. You just push it on gently. It will hold on its own. The way this pipetter is used is it's a two-stage plunger. So the way it works is the first stage is we press down halfway and it sort of stops right there. The first time you click it for the day, it kind of is a little hard. So let's try again. All right, so you depress it halfway and it stops. So you can see there's sort of a stop. It hasn't gone down all the way. And then there's a second stage, we press down again, and that presses it the rest of the way. So in order to pull up milk out of our test sample, this is our milk. We're going to start straight up and down, and we only submerge the tip just about that far. So, you know, maybe that's a 1/4 of an inch or so. It does not have to go very far. About a 1/4 of an inch, and we depress it. So before it goes in, we depress it to that first stage. Then we lower it in to about a 1/4 of an inch, and then we release. And that's now drawn up the exact amount that we want to go into our vial. Then we bring it over to our vial on an angle, and we depress it halfway and then the full way. All right, so I've filled all 30 of our sample vials with the negative control. So now all we do is we'll pop the tops back on and we'll transfer those over to our orange not found tube rack, and that's going to be ready for freezing. Now that we're done with our pipetter, we can take it over to the trash. This button here is the eject button, and you just depress that down and it'll shoot that off. It's not a bad idea to give a quick examination of the tip of the pipetter, make sure there's no residual milk on it that could potentially contaminate. If there is, we can just wash that off. All right, there are our not found controls ready to go. They don't really need to go in any particular configuration. I just cluster them all together so I get a better sense for how much I've used. There's 30 sample vials in all. 30 is also what fits around the outside parameter of one of the tube racks, and it's just a lot easier, I've found, to go around in a circle. The lids tend to get in the way when you're filling them if you have them all clustered together like this. So when you're filling, we go around the outside of the tube rack. We're ready to start doing our positive control, and we're going to do the same procedure as we did before using our pipetter and now our recently agitated and completely mixed sample vial of the Pen 5 sample. All right, so that's it for the making of the controls. These now move into the freezer. We can use these up to 2 months from now. So March the 9th, we need to be making new controls by then. One last thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we do test our negative and our positive, our not found and our positive controls by running them against the previous batch of confirmed controls. So this is from the last batch of controls that have not expired yet, and this is our test. So it says test on it, and we're going to run those against one another, and these both should show up as not found, and the same for the last control group and the control group we just made. Those should test against each other, and these should show that they are positive for antibiotic or inhibitor in the milk. So that's it. We have our not found controls and our positive controls in the incubator for the next 3 hours. Once those both pass, we'll make sure that we record those in our log, quality control log. This is the end of the test. As you can see, both the not found and positive test controls check out for quality. And so now we can record in our quality control log what has happened. And so basically we're just going to go through the information. the date of the initial test, so that's today's date, the ID. The ID for the negative control is going to be the same as the batch ID. So for today, that's 010921N, 010921N. We write down that the inhibitor was not found, and as a result, the test passed. So for the positive control, quality control log, the information we're going to record is a little bit different because this is a manufactured control, as opposed to the not found control, which comes from our own milk. And so something that's a little bit different is the lot number and the expiration date. That first section actually refers to the test kit that we receive from the manufacturer. So the 19D 19/7 with an expiration date of 19 April 2024, that actually refers to the pre-mixed freeze-dried solution. So when we record what the batch ID is and the expiration date relative to that, that is what we mixed today. And so that's the 010921P with an expiration date of March 9th. And again, we found it positive, and as a result, it passes. So that is it. That's all we have to do for our test and our quality control log, and that's it. And then it's just cleaning up. So everything gets put away. The samples are only good for 1 day. So if you know that you're going to need a sample in the next 24 hours, you can use these on the day that you make it or the day after, but they're technically not any good anymore after that. So if you know you're not going to make any more samples, these whatever you have left can just be discarded. And then any of the remaining control vials from the last batch, I just take those, and we do try to reuse those. So I just take them and we throw them in the hot water or the warm water, thaw them back out if they still need to thaw, give them a good washing, and then put them away with the rest of the empty sample vials for future use. That's it.